What's up, everybody? Welcome into Verts, an NFL and college football channel here on the Chat Sports Network. My name is Harrison Graham. Speaking of Chat Sports, we did a live 3-round Chat Sports mock draft, and what that means is we have like 15 or 18 of our Chat Sports team-specific channel hosts make picks for their teams and then ran the simulator for the other teams, and we did a 3-round mock draft. So what I'm going to do is react to that 3-round mock draft and kind of just see how every team did and give my thoughts on every pick and every team's haul, and should be a lot of fun. If you're able to join us, it was a lot of fun. And full disclaimer, I'm our Bears host, so I did make our Bears draft picks. Okay, we're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers here on Verts. We're dropping new NFL videos every single day, 6 days away from the draft. I'd love to get to 10,000 subs as soon as possible. We can make it happen with your help. It is free. All you got to do is subscribe. Okay, what we're going to do is go 1 through 32, the first round, and then we'll go team chunks through the third rounds, if that makes sense. So Tennessee went Cam Ward number 1, no surprise there. I kind of thought our Browns host would go Abdul Carter 2, but he ended up going Travis Hunter at number 2, which has been the heavily linked report and rumor recently. Sounds like they're going to take Hunter. And then our Giants host did take Abdul Carter 3. This is when I thought it could get weird. The Patriots did go with Will Campbell. That's been heavily rumored if Carter and Hunter are gone to add someone to help protect Drake May. We'll see if that's how it ends up playing out on draft night, but pretty chalky to start. This is when it got weird. The simulator went Tyler Warren at 5. I actually don't think it's egregious for Jacksonville. They lost Evan Ingram in the offseason. They traded Christian Kirk. They have an elite weapon in Brian Thomas Jr., but Gabe Davis is a number 2 weapon, kind of underwhelming. Adding a Tyler Warren, I think, could be a pretty intriguing fit. Ashton Jeanty did go to the Raiders at number 6. I wondered if MICH, our Raiders host, would go Mason Graham, who fell, or Armand Membou to get a right tackle, but they did go with Jeanty. Membou did go to the Jets at 7, so Carolina, one of our simulated teams, ended up getting Mason Graham. We didn't do trades. If there were trades, as the Bears host, I would have tried to trade up and get Mason, but did not work out. Our Saints host did take Shedeur Sanders at number 9, although recent reports suggest, from Adam Schefter, that they are not going to take Shedeur Sanders. We'll see if that changes. Sounds like they're a Jackson Dart team. I took Mike Green for the Bears. I don't think the Bears will take him for a couple reasons. One, he's not a prototypical Dennis Allen edge. He does have off-the-field questions with those sexual assaults. Obviously, if I didn't get those questions answered, I wouldn't have made that pick either, but I don't have access to that information, so I just took who I thought was the best player available at a premium position. 49ers got Jalen Walker. I don't know what to do with Jalen Walker, especially in a 4-3 scheme. San Francisco's more multiple with Robert Saleh, so I don't mind that fit, but I didn't take him in Chicago, for example, because I just don't know how he fits in a Dennis Allen system. Tom Downey, our Cowboys host, went Tetairoa and McMillan. Common mock pick. They want to pair a big-time receiver with CeeDee Lamb. I think that's a good fit and a good weapon to add with Dak Prescott. Will Johnson to the Dolphins at 13, especially with the Jalen Ramsey trade rumors. They may not have a choice but to go corner in this spot, so that's what our Dolphins host did. Colts was a simulated pick. Jahad Campbell, certainly interesting. Thought maybe Colston Loveland would be the selection there. If that was a hosted team, it might have been, but the linebacker out of Bama, who I think is going to go higher than people think, goes 14. Our Falcons host took Nick Emanwari at 15. I was a little surprised by this. They've been linked to a lot of pass rushers, but they go safety here. And then Cardinals, a simulated team, Donovan Azaraku. I think one of the more underrated pass rushers in this class. Really good speed rusher. Needs to get better against the run, but does know how to get the quarterback. Okay, the Bengals, Jahdae Barron. I think one of the better value picks in this draft. They just need dudes on defense, and Barron is that. Versatility. Probably a nickel in the NFL, but I think he could play some safety, could play some outside corner, but they add a piece there. Colston Loveland fell to 18, so our Seahawks host took him. I think that's just a BPA pick. Receiver, O-line, probably bigger needs, but Loveland is a guy who can be another weapon for Sam Darnold and help a little bit in protection as well. Shamar Stewart goes to the Bucs at 19. They've been linked to Jahad Campbell, but he was gone. This was a simulated pick as Stewart, polarizing player. He's got all the measurables that you want, but is he a great football player? I don't know. He doesn't finish a lot of plays. He misses a lot of tackles. He's got a long way to go. Marion Hampton fell to Denver. I think they'd be thrilled with this. Now, if there were trades in this mock, I think Hampton's probably gone by now, but Sean Payton gets his running back. I think he'd be fired up. I mean, Bo Nix had a really good rookie season without a consistent run game. You get a guy like Hampton in there, that can be a 3-down bell cow. That could really take that offense to the next level. At 21, the Steelers go Derek Harmon. Our Steelers host took the Oregon defensive tackle. Really fun player, rising player. I think he could go top 20. Good against the run. You see the flashes as a pass rusher. Good size, good quickness. I think he's got a chance to be a really good interior penetrator. Kenneth Grant, probably the best pure one tech in this draft. Good run stopper, gives you a little wiggle as a pass rusher as well. Jim Harbaugh gets a Michigan man. This is a simulated pick, not really a surprise. Packers pick was also simulated. They get another weapon for Jordan Love. Wide receiver Luther Burden. I think it's a little early. Matt Golden's still on the board. So is Emeka Egbuka, but Burden via the simulation comes off the board. Vikings add a safety, Malachi Starks. This just feels like a BPA pick, so certainly don't mind that one whatsoever, especially in a Brian Flores defense. Matthew Golden to the Texans at 25. I was pretty critical of this one live, but stay tuned. The Texans added a good offensive lineman on day 2. I thought they would go O-line here with notable names available still, like Josh Connerly and Josh Simmons, Kelvin Banks Jr. Banks went the next pick to the Rams at 26. I think that's just a BPA pick. Their O-line's mostly set, but good value there in the late first round for L.A. Our Ravens host took James Pierce Jr. He may or may not be a Tennessee alum. The talent is there. I do think a team with a strong culture should be the team that takes him because he does have some attitude and character concerns that have been leaked pretty heavily throughout this process. Baltimore obviously has a strong culture intact, so they could probably absorb that and get him on the right path. Walter Nolan to the Lions, kind of the same deal. Really talented player, does have some not legal concerns, but there's rumors of him. He would leave practice early, and he was immature. Well, Detroit, Dan Campbell's got a pretty firm standard in place, so if they could kind of rein him in, he's got all the talent in the world. Jaden Higgins, this was a bit of a surprise. The Commanders went with him here, our Commanders host. Big body receiver on the outside, pretty smooth. Inconsistent separator, but good hands catcher, so Jaden Daniels gets another weapon. Bills go Trey Amos. I think he's a corner that's been rising. I expect him to go in the first round of this draft. I think he's CB3 after 4 if you count Travis Hunter, Will Johnson, and then Jahdae Barron. Gray's able to the Chiefs, plug and play guard, or could play center for them. He'd play guard. And then Michael Williams, of course, Georgia Northeast, as Howie strikes again. They're able to get Michael Williams to wrap up the first round. So only 2 quarterbacks went in the first round. Now, if there were trades, I definitely think a third one would have gone, like a Jackson Dart or someone like that. But how many quarterbacks do you think will go in the first round of the real NFL draft? What say you? Let us know in the comment section down below. How many QBs will end up going in round 1? Okay, we'll go team by team now and kind of let you guys know how the rest of it played out. Cardinals ended up adding Elic Aomanor, the receiver out of Stanford, in the second round. Physical guy, one of the best blocking receivers in this draft, can also kind of box people out on the outside. Doesn't consistently separate, but a good boundary receiver. And then they got Jackson Dart in the third round, which is interesting. Again, no trades probably led to that, but certainly interesting nonetheless. And there's been some chatter that maybe if Kyler doesn't have a great year and they don't make the playoffs next year, they could move on at quarterback. Falcons, no third-round pick, so they just add JT Tuimoloau in the second round, the edge out of Ohio State. I think that's the proper range for him, early, mid-second round. Long, powerful edge rusher, really good against the run, still developing as a pass rusher, but kind of a streaky pass rusher we saw in the college football playoff when he had 6.5 sacks in 4 games. So if he can continue to develop there, I think he can be a really good pro. The Ravens, after adding James Pierce, they get Jonah Seva-Ainea. Second round, really love that pick. Physical player, violent in the run game, just kind of fits what they want to do, right? Athletic guy, you get Lamar Jackson on a pull or Derrick Henry on a kind of a duo run inside. Seva-Ainea is just a guy who's just going to punish defensive linemen. And then Kobe Bryant, fun player, athletic kid out of Kansas. Still a little bit raw, but has good ball skills. So in the third round, I think that's a pretty good fit. Bills, in addition to Trey Amos, they add another DB, which that's been the biggest weakness of their defense, their defensive backfield. Xavier Watts, one of the best ball hawks in this draft, 13 picks over the last 2 years. Probably a guy that competes with DeMar Hamlin and eventually takes his job. And then Alfred Collins, really good run-stuffing defensive tackle that I think offers a little juice as a pass rusher, probably not a ton, but really can play the run well and eat up blockers. Carolina, after adding Mason Graham, they get Siobhan Revel Jr. I think someone, when we look back in this draft, could end up being a steal in the second round. To me, not to go the lazy small school comparison, but I think had he played this year, like Quinyon Mitchell last year, could have been a first-round pick. He had a really good 2023 season, got injured this year, but he's got a lot of physical traits that you like. Princely McMillan, another pass rusher for Carolina as well, so they get 2 dudes on their D-line. Chicago, which these picks were made by me. Again, I went BPA, in my opinion, for Mike Green. I didn't factor in how they would view the sexual assault allegations. Obviously, if they don't get the answers they want, they shouldn't take them, and I wouldn't either. But I just went BPA because I don't have access to that information. I think he's a really good player, good run stopper, a lot of similarities to Khalil Mack as a player. So it was between him and Michael Williams, who ironically fell to 32. Josh Connerly Jr., I'll pat myself on the back here to get him at 39. Great value. I mean, obviously takes a lot of luck. He didn't go earlier. Come back, get a running back, Quinshon Judkins at 41. I think one of the best 3-down backs in this draft, really physical, can also hit the home run ball and catch the football. And then Andrew Makuba, I think kind of the last safety that you would take in the first 2 days before there's a dip-off. I add him in the 3rd round because the Bears have both their safeties on contract years with uncertain futures, and veteran Kevin Byard and rookie contract Jaquan Brisker, who's had some concussion problems. Okay, the Bengals, they add Tyleik Williams, maybe the best run-stopping defensive tackle in this draft, and Jack Sawyer. I mean, what a 3-pick haul there. Jahdae Barron, Tyleik Williams, Jack Sawyer. That's going to be tough to beat, especially for a team not picking inside the top 10 each round. So shout out Cincinnati. You load up on defense with 3 guys who I think contribute right away. Okay, the Browns. Caleb Johnson to start the second round. They really need a 3-down back after Nick Chubb, post-injury, didn't look the same. Their other backs last year didn't offer much, so they need a guy who can be a bell cow. Caleb Johnson provides that. Benjamin Morrison, good corner, not the best speed, but I think 3rd round's good value for him. And then Matthew Peterson, our Browns host, finally gets his quarterback, Kyle McCord, in the 3rd round, can sit and learn behind Joe Flacco if that's who they opt to start this year. They get the kid out of Syracuse. Okay, Cowboys, they add Travion Henderson in the 2nd round, add a juiced-up running back, which they really need. They missed Tony Pollard last year. And then Noah Williams, cornerback out of Cal in the 3rd round. Broncos, after getting a Marion Hampton, they add a tight end, Elijah Arroyo. So they check those 2 boxes. Running back and tight end are 2 positions they really need on offense. And then they add Ty Hamilton, the defensive tackle out of Ohio State, in the 3rd round. Okay, Detroit, after getting Walter Nolan, they get 2 more pass rushers, just loading up. Braden Swinson, Jared Ivey. Not going to let what happened last year, I suppose. After Aiden Hutchinson went down, they really were thin up front. Swinson, probably a better pass rusher. Ivey, a better run stopper as an edge, but kind of different flavors of type of players there. Okay, Green Bay, Landon Jackson, the edge out of Arkansas. A little stiff in the hips, but physical player, good athlete, 6'6", about 280 pounds, so he can play the run pretty well. I think probably not a great pass rusher in the NFL, but I think can give you some production there. And then Oluwafemi Oladejo out of UCLA. He's been a guy that's been rising recently. I do think he goes day 2. Already excellent against the run, still developing as a pass rusher, so they kind of double down at that edge position. Okay, the Texans, after getting Matthew Golden, I teased this earlier, Ariante Ursary, a guy I'm really high on, fell to 58. Then they double down with Wyatt Milam, who played tackle in college, but probably a guard in the NFL. Texans need to load up and get some offensive linemen. So you get 2 guys there that I think have starting potential. And then Terrence Ferguson, tight end. I like him going there because they have Dalton Schultz. Fergie can be that number 2 guy. So really investing in the offense there after C.J. Stroud. You don't want to say regress, but kind of flatlined in year 2. Okay, the Colts come back in round 2, get Nick Scorton, kind of a long, physical edge rusher, 6'5", 6'6", 290-pound guy, can kind of kick inside some if you need him to. Demetrius Knight, older prospect, 25 years old, but one of the better off-ball linebackers in this draft, so they double dip at linebacker. Jags, Josh Simmons in the second round, one of the best value picks. I think he could start at left tackle from day one if he's fully recovered from that knee injury. Xavier Restrepo, again, this is a simulator pick. I don't think he goes 70th overall after his pro day, but we'll see. Darian Porter, though, love that value. 6'4", 200-pound corner late in the third round, so pretty good haul overall from Jacksonville. Chiefs, after getting Gray Zabel, they get Jalen Knoll, the receiver out of Iowa State. Textbook Chiefs type of receiver, a little undersized, speedy, good route runner. Maybe they hit here after missing on Sky Moore a couple years ago. Joshua Farmer, I'm not as high on him, but people in NFL circles seem to be. I could see Kansas City adding a defensive tackle. They let Derek Nottie go. Chris Jones is still going to play for a few more years, but maybe they want to lower his snap counts moving forward, kind of like what they've done with Travis Kelce in the offensive side of the ball. And then Devin Neal, love that pick. One of my favorite running backs in this draft. Kind of felt like Pacheco post-injury last year, started to lose some of that juice. They re-signed Kareem Hunt, but kind of go by committee this year with those two and Neal in this scenario. Then maybe the year after Neal takes over as the clear RB1. Okay, Raiders, after getting Ashton Jeanty, love the Tyler Booker pick there as he's a plug-and-play starting guard. And if you're going to be a run-heavy team with Jeanty, got to have the bullies up front. And then I really like the Schweizinger pick, too. I thought Mitch did a good job here with his haul. Jeanty, Booker, Schweizinger. Still have questions at right tackle, but maybe you add someone in free agency after the draft. Okay, Chargers, Jack Besh out of TCU after getting Kenneth Grant. They need more receiver help. Slot, outside hybrid. He can do both, play both spots in college. And then Josiah Stewart, undersized edge, but another Michigan guy, good pass rusher. Harbaugh knows him really well, obviously, so I could see that being a fit in the third round. Rams, Kelvin Banks, Tyler Shuck. Shout out to the guy who was making our Rams pick. I could see this, though, like a day 2 quarterback to sit behind Stafford. I don't know if Shuck's that guy because he's already 26. Do you want him sitting for a couple of years? Maybe in this scenario he sits for 1 year, and if they feel good about his development, they move on from Stafford after 2025. And then Dorian Strong, he's been a riser at corner out of Virginia Tech, sneaks into the third round as well. Okay, Dolphins, after getting Will Johnson, great value pick in round 2. Donovan Jackson, who can play guard or tackle. Dolphins need help on the offensive line, really at all positions, but with Teron Armstead retiring, maybe Jackson gets in the mix over at left tackle. If not, he can certainly start at guard. And then Shamar Turner, who before having a foot injury, which caused him to miss most of the pre-draft stuff like the combine and all that, he was viewed as a top 50 pick. If he's still sitting there late round 3, that's really, really good value for Miami, who never really replaced Christian Wilkins last year. Vikings don't have a lot of picks this year, so they come back and get Vernon Broughton in the third round. Traits, that is the word here. 35-inch arms, physical specimen. Still developing as a player, but I think if you get him, again, a lot of times it's like, okay, if you get this player with that coach, well, you get him with Brian Flores, who seems to know how to get the best out of players on defense. I like that fit, and they're pretty deep at defensive tackle, so he wouldn't be forced into heavy action early on. Okay, the Patriots, they go get Trey Harris in the second round. A little rich for my blood, but he's got big upside as an outside guy. Doesn't run the full route tree. I think I saw a stat like 60% of his routes were goes, curls, and screens. So if you're asking him to run the route tree, the full route tree, you're not going to get that. But can he be like a poor man's DK Metcalf where, big, physical, fast, can run those goes, maybe add a dig route to his route tree over the middle. He's got the frame to certainly be physical out in space. Big potential. Got to get Drake Mason help. And they did that in the first 3 picks with Campbell, Trey Harris, Cam Scatterbo, who as a power back, as a part of a rotation, can take some pressure off of Ramondre Stevenson. And then Jordan Birch, who is a physical traitsy edge who's still developing but has potentially a big future ahead. Okay, the Saints, they go all offense. Shedeur, Mason Taylor, Jalen Royals, Savion Williams. Let's just get Kellen Moore all the weapons. I wouldn't hate it, to be honest, though. If you're trying to bring some excitement back, Shedeur obviously would bring that. Whether or not it works, that remains to be seen. Mason Taylor, some view him as a guy who could sneak into round 1, so top 40, certainly not a reach for him. Jalen Royals, love him out of Utah State as well. Crisp route runner, knows how to get open. Savion Williams, more of just a gadget guy. Play some receiver, play some running back, just manufacture touches for him. Kellen Moore is a pretty creative play caller, so I think that would be a destination that I would like for him to have success in. Okay, the Giants, after getting Abdul Carter, love the Egbuka pick, one of the best value picks in this draft that we did via Chat Sports. Omar Norman-Lott, not a great run defender, but one of the best interior pass rushers in this draft. Rotation guy at Tennessee, I think he's the same in the NFL. Third down packages, clear pass rushing downs. If he can at least become average as a run stopper, he could become more of a pure starter, but don't think he's that early on in his career, but I definitely think he can rotate in. And then Miles Frazier, the Giants could use some help on that interior offensive line, so they come back and get him at 99. Okay, Jets, they get Armand Membou at 7, but TJ Sanders, one of the better interior pass rushers in this draft, solid against the run as well. Azariah Thomas, not very fast, 4'6" guy, but really technically sound. And we saw last year with Kamari Lassiter, you can get by in certain schemes if the technique and ball skills are there, and he has both. So I'm okay with it in the third round, especially with the defensive head coach in Aaron Glenn. Okay, Philadelphia, again, Georgia Northeast, they get Michael Williams. They also had Anthony Belton, who's probably a swing tackle early on. Lane Johnson's getting up there, so maybe he takes over in a year or two at right tackle, or at least as an option for that. And then Jacob Parrish, really good athlete at corner, still learning the position, but I think in the third round and where Philly is from a roster standpoint, certainly take a swing on a guy with an athletic profile. Okay, Pittsburgh, no second-round pick due to the DK Metcalf trade. They go get Jalen Milroe in the third round. Our Steelers host loves Tyler Shuck, has been pounding the table for Tyler Shuck. He was available. He went Jalen Milroe. Now, to his credit, he made this pick. He still thinks Pittsburgh is going to land Aaron Rodgers despite the uncertainty there. So his thought process is, okay, I'll take the 22-year-old with huge upside but needs to sit back and learn, sit behind Rodgers for a year or two. So I don't hate that logic whatsoever. 49ers, they add Maxwell Harrison, really fast corner. Still needs to improve technically. Gets caught peeking in the backfield. You can get him on double moves, but 4-3 guy certainly has big potential. Marcus Bowe out of Purdue, guard tackle flex. Probably a guard in the NFL, but played right tackle for Purdue for a couple of years. And then Charles Grant, same deal. Probably a guard in the NFL, but could play tackle. So maybe between those two guys, one of them's a big hit. 49ers need to get better in the trenches. Seahawks, Tate Ratledge in round 2. Love that pick. He's kind of like the last pure guard that's worthy to take on day 2 for a guy that could come in and start. They double down on the interior, get Jared Wilson. They really need a center. So if between those two guys at least one can start this year, that's a win. Did not like the Tez Johnson pick. That was a reach. I don't think he's a bad player, but when you're 155 pounds and you run a 4.51, that's a bit of a concern. I think you're just going to have limitations at that size already. To me, that's a day 3 player. And then they're the lone team that had a 5th pick here in the first 3 rounds, and they get Quincy Riley, the corner out of Louisville. Okay, Tampa Bay. I like the Alexander pick at 53. A little bit older, but if he was a couple years younger, he'd probably be a first-round pick. So you get him mid-second round. I like that. Good run stopper, can rush the passer as well. And then I like the Kennard pick as well. Bucs offense is pretty set. Offensive line, quarterback. They have 3 good receivers, multiple good running backs. You could add a tight end to go with Cade Otton, but I don't mind them loading back up on defense because defense started to slip last year as the offense really started to take off. Okay, Titans, Cam Ward obviously come back, get him a receiver, and Kyle Williams there in the second round. Were these the only 2 picks they had? That's right. They third-round pick went to Kansas City via the L'Jarius Sneed move last year. Okay, Washington, Kevin Winston Jr., he's been rising. I'm not really sure where he ends up. To me, he's kind of in that chunk with Andrew Makuba and Xavier Watts, who's probably a little higher than these 2 guys, but Washington could use some help on the back end, so they get a weapon in Winston, a potential playmaker. Okay, there you go. Our 3-round Chat Sports mock draft. What was your favorite team's draft haul, how would you grade it? A, B, C, D, or F? If you're a Commanders fan, if you're a Titans fan, if you're a Cowboys fan, how would you grade your favorite team? And if you want to go above and beyond, let us know what your favorite pick was as well. My name is Harrison Graham. I promise you guys a brand new mock draft purely from me with trades, so be on the lookout for that. Probably we'll just do one round and throw 4 or 5 trades in there, so stay tuned for that. And then we'll have our final mock draft at some point next week as well. Cooking up content for you guys leading up to the draft here on 4 Verts, so hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. We'll see you guys soon.